Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Comedy Game Design Podcast. I'd totally play that, where we create games that you'll wish existed. With me today, I have a colorful cast, a colorful crew of commentators. I'm Chris Gordon. Thank you for listening. And with me, I have Joey Pasco.
Hey, what's up? This is Joey.
And I got Peter Corvesis.
Hello.
And joining me for the first time, standing 6'6" from North Carolina, I have the man, Lucas Quagliata.
Hey, what a get. What a get
if I do say so myself.
6'6", 480 pounds of beef.
That's me. That's what they say.
So, Luke, you're not much of a gamer, correct? You don't play too many video games, right?
No, I don't. I used to, growing up, I was very into, Madden and sports games, and then I got a little bit into, Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell got you, okay.
This sounds like the exact antithesis of Chris's video game lifespan.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember being drunk in college with you once, Luke, and we got into a heated debate because you said Madden was the greatest game series of all time.
Yeah, I was... No. Not greatest. I said it was the highest selling. And I was extremely convinced
and
that
you
this
were
is
wrong.
True. Yeah, I was very wrong. Super wrong. So wrong.
But you also, there was a browser game that you were really into called Cookie Clicker.
Cookie Clicker, yeah. I feel, did you guys talk about how you're going to ambush me on something?
Well, no,
Yeah.
I just knew that you played that game and that was a game.
So
He also beat Ocarina of Time. You beat Ocarina of Time.
That's true. I did beat Ocarina of Time, although I was heavily reliant on the player's guide.
Everyone is. That's the secret for every player who has ever played Ocarina of Time. It's probably impossible without a player's guide.
I did have a Nintendo Power subscription for a while too, actually, growing up. So I guess
really?
I have as a youth, I was more entwined, but not so much now. I would say now the most I'll do is an Angry Birds on a plane.
I wanted to try something, and I wanted to see. I'm going to name some. Actually, we'll go around. Each of us will name a video game series, and I want to just get your idea of what you think or what you've understood it to be about from a distance, from a complete distance. So a very topical one right now is Final Fantasy VII. What is your understanding of what Final Fantasy VII is about and is?
So Final Fantasy VII is, they've been telling the story for a while. First it was fantasy, then it was the fantasy continues. And now the seventh is the last one, but the problem is in a capitalist society like ours, they need to keep making money. And so they've decided, there was Final Fantasy, but then there was Final Fantasy 2, 3, 4, 5. But keep in mind, this came after Fantasy and the Fantasy continues. So, and what
Don't
it
forget
is,
the prequels, The Fantasy Menace.
did you ever have a dream, and you woke up in the dream, but you were just in another dream? So a little bit like Inception, I guess, but it's like,
You mean every dream I have during quarantine?
Yeah, exactly. So Final Fantasy is you're just trying to wake up from that internal dream, but it's just another dream. So you're trying to wake the guy up, throwing water on him, putting him in a tub, that's what. That's
do you know the main character's name from the game?
No, I know nothing about Final Fantasy, nothing at all. The closest thing I would draw it to, I guess, I would say, is it something like a Dragon Ball Z kind of thing?
It's pretty much shot for shot Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. But you're going to different worlds, and you're fighting people with different kinds of powers, and you're seeking some kind of amulet of some sort, I would imagine.
How about Metal Gear Solid? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, that's got Snape in it.
Solid Snake.
Good
yeah.
start.
Snake, correct. Go on.
And he's an old spy, I thought, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely correct.
The Gears of War franchise?
Gears of War I played a lot in college, so I know.
That sounds bad. Yeah.
He's familiar with the big necks, the broad shoulders.
Friend of the pod, Andrew Lim, would play that quite a bit.
Just beefy boys go to war is what I'm pretty sure it is.
Gears of War is a game that you don't play unless you have Mountain Dew and chicken wings in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just
That's
Dorito
accurate.
dust everywhere. You don't
Mountain
even
Dew
have
Code
Doritos.
Red in particular. You
Yeah.
need Mountain Dew Code Red.
In fact, you play best if you're avoiding studying for a midterm.
That's the secret to top performance. Nobody will tell you that. The pros won't tell you.
It's in the Prima. It's in the Prima guide.
And one more, I want to know what Animal Crossing looks like to a normal person.
It looks like just an escape for everyone. So basically, it's like, my life sucks, so let me go be a farmer in a fake world, and I'll fly to islands and grow beets or something.
Literally exactly correct. Not
Yeah.
even a little bit off.
It's a lot more capitalistic, but yeah.
Yeah, I was getting to the raccoon lords over everyone.
Yes. Wow, that's funny that you picked that up.
Tom
The
Nook
tweets-
with his evil
the
empire.
memes got
You
to
you gotta remember, like, I'm a meme man. I'm in on the memes. So if I see a meme and I don't know it, I go to know your meme, and I read up on the memes. I'm very much
You
like,
got to keep up on the memes.
no. So like, you know how Tyler watched the end of as was discussed on your first episode. Tyler watched the end of BioShock. So like, I will do that, but like without having played the game. Basically, like, I was like, why is what? This is a long time ago, but like, the cake is a lie. People keep saying the cake, so I like went and read the whole Wikipedia page.
What is this cake? What's the deal with this cake?
So yeah, I like to be in on the joke. So I will research many things. Final Fantasy has escaped my base of knowledge
It's
completely.
escaped your grasp. Although you weren't that far off. You did get capitalism. Final Fantasy VII is very much about capitalism. Final Fantasy VII is very much about getting lost within a dream. So yeah,
it
you weren't
literally
far
is?
off at all.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
I was joking. That's amazing.
Yeah, you weren't far off at all. So the topic for this week is TV shows. So we each came up with an idea for a TV show game, a game based on a TV show. And I wanted to start off by talking about some of the real games that are based on TV shows.
Yes.
So I have two examples open here. One of them is for Home Improvement, a sitcom that everyone should be pretty familiar with. You know, you got your Tim
everybody our
Toolman
age.
Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know Wilson, get out.
You got your Tim the Toolman Taylor famous grunt. Ooh. And,
Everybody
you know-
give your
Yeah,
best.
hold on. We
grunt,
have to go
please.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Here's mine.
Shit.
All right. It's like Goofy. Sounds like Goofy.
Yeah, all of these sound like a dog smelling something. Oh, hey, let me try.
That was great.
That was good.
Well, he also has there's different emotions too. He'll be like, ho, 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 ho. He likes something. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he likes something.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Pokemon. He just like does that same thing, but over and over in different.
That's all he can say.
Did you know?
That's all
Well,
he
in
can
the
say.
show, Tim the Toolman Taylor, that's just like his stage name. His real name is.
He had to change it though. His agent asked him to change that one.
Yeah,
when he,
for
when
the
he got
show.
on the show.
For the show.
Yeah. So when you think of Home Improvement, what do you think of? You think of
It's gotta be like a side scroller where you're just like throwing hammers at shit.
I'm going to go ahead and read the plot summary from Wikipedia. On a special broadcast of the show Tool Time, Tim prepares to unveil the new Binford Ultra Power tool line named after him, the Binford Taylor Turbo Power tool line. Say that fucking 10 times fast. He goes to retrieve them, only to discover that they're missing and a note left in their place demanding Tim to come. Demanding Tim to come. That's all it says. It doesn't
If
say
you
where.
insist. Does he make that noise when he comes? That's actually just his O face.
And a note left in their place demanding Tim to come. But here's where it really starts to go off the rails. The player's weapons include modified tools such as a nail gun, a blowtorch used as a flamethrower. It does say in parentheses the blowtorch is used as a flamethrower.
Naturally.
And a chainsaw. These weapons are used to fight and here's where it starts going off the rails. These weapons are used to fight dinosaurs, acid-spewing mummies, robot sentries, and other enemies. It just says other enemies, but I have to assume that it's a wild list all the way down.
What? Like,
is Bob Vila somebody you can kill in the game?
I hope Bob Vila is the final boss.
Al Borland is the final boss. He transforms into his true form.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that Al was jealous and stole the tool.
And he demanded Tim to come.
Man, I'm looking at screenshots of these games of the game, and I can't tell if any of these are photoshopped or if they're like real. Like, is there like the game over screen is Tim the Toolman Taylor lying in a pool of blood as Al Borland stands over him and says, "I don't think so, Tim."
No, that can't be real. That cannot be real.
I don't know though.
I'm looking
real.
at it too.
It looks real though.
I didn't see that particular one. Could you drop that in the chat, please?
Yes, I will.
Oh, I see it. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. No, this is fake. This has got to be fake.
It is real. It is real. I swear to God.
I don't think so.
Wait, why does he go through like a prehistoric portal? Like, did whoever stole his tools put them in the past? Or
You know, it's not really clear. It's just somebody asked him to come, and this is what happened. This is what happens when Tim the Toolman Taylor is asked to come. He's just lying in a pool of his own blood. Wow, I did not know that. That's not mentioned. That's not mentioned in the Wikipedia article.
This is troublesome.
This is bonkers. And I thought I had played most Super Nintendo games, but I have to say this is one I've never touched.
I opened it once in an emulator, and I played. It starts with the dinosaurs. That's where it begins. You're asked to come, and then it goes right into dinosaurs.
Are you
That's
saying
the first
Tim
level.
the Toolman Taylor is an immortal being who has existed since the beginning of time?
That's got to be what it is.
Oh man.
You fight your way to the modern age until you get your own show.
That's incredible.
That's got to be what it is. So yeah, Home Improvement : Power Tool Pursuit. That's one of the TV games, real TV games that you should look up. Another one that I did think was worth a mention is the Cory in the House video game that was made for Nintendo DS. I'm just gonna go ahead and read off the plot for this one. Cory in the House is an adventure game that requires the player to play as Cory Baxter, a teenager who lives with his father, Victor Baxter, after Victor gets accepted as the head chef at the White House. That's just the plot of the show. So far, so good.
Can we take a step back quick? For those people who didn't grow up in our generation, if I remember this correctly, Cory in the House was a spin-off of the show That's So Raven.
Yes, it was indeed.
Cory in the House is the younger brother of Raven and her dad move into the White House.
So I was going to say, I did not know what Cory in the House was even. So thank you for that.
It's a wonderful television show. It is a spinoff that lasted like half a season from
that
So
thing lasted
Raven.
a while, I think.
Really? I was making that up to be funny. I wasn't basing
Dear
that
Google
in fact.
machine. Oh, 2 seasons.
2 seasons. Okay, we'll give it 2. All right, so it made it 2 seasons. But it's important to keep in mind that this world exists in the same world as a psychic teenager exists. So there is magic in this world. This is a fantastical, J.K. Rowling-esque world that's been created here.
If you think about it, that's sort of the worst place for the brother of a psychic to be, is the White House.
White House?
Because the White House, if they find out, she's going to be dissected in a lab, and That's So Raven is going to be smeared across like the Pentagon.
Well, that's what happened in Area 51.
She's just she's a precog in the Pentagon from here on out.
That was the plot of season 3, and they couldn't release it.
It got too dark. Disney didn't like it.
There is actually a secret season 3 of Cory in the House where Raven does get dissected by the Area 51 scientists.
Coming to Disney Plus in 2021.
Yes. So that's just the plot of the show. His dad is the chef at the White House, and this is Corey from That's So Raven fame. But here's where the plot of the game begins. The basic premise for the game is Corey, after winning a toy contest, starts an endeavor to sell bobbleheads depicting the President of the United States to the citizens of Washington, D.C. The bobbleheads, however, are taken into possession by the evil toy maker, and that is in capitals. That is a capitalized title. The capital evil capital toy maker.
So that's his name. He's just known.
That's his name. His first name is The, middle name Evil. Last name, he's Mr. Toymaker, who tries to utilize the bobbleheads as a mean of hypnotic technology on the population of Washington, D.C. Corey is then tasked with retrieving the bobbleheads to stop the hypnosis plan. And that is the plot of the Nintendo DS video game Corey in the House.
Wow.
Yikes.
Sounds great.
And I just want to also throw out that the game is described as an adventure stealth game. So there are stealth elements. You're trying to sneak around and obtain these bobbleheads.
See, like Splinter Cell, this would be great. I'd be great.
Yes. One of your few gaming touchstones. It does line up directly with, yes.
So the only game I found is The Bachelor, the game. So there's The Bachelor was created for Nintendo DS and the Nintendo Wii, and it is basically just a shit ton of mini games, but you're vying for love of the Bachelor or Bachelorette or whatever. The AV Club wrote an article about this back in 2014, and the headline just says, "The Bachelor video game simulates the most miserable parts of dating."
Wait, what are the parts? What are the parts it simulates?
I didn't go deep into the article.
I want to know what these mini games consist of.
I imagine it probably is like WarioWare Inc., except a lot worse, you know?
Yeah, it's
like pour a bottle of champagne, but it's just like spilling everywhere. And she's getting mad. Well, I can tell you also from
you try to
experience.
propose and you have to like balance as you get down on one knee, but you just fall over and like fart or something.
get the ring on her finger correctly. Whoa!
You're like trying to give somebody a rose, but instead you throw it at their heart and kill them.
You're trying to grab the rose, but you need to avoid the thorns with the photorealistic hand that's moving around.
Just blood squirts on when you pick it up.
I can tell you, I worked at a Best Buy and Circuit City during the heyday of like Nintendo DS, PS3, Xbox 360, and like when you would go into the like DS section, there was always like a shit ton of these like tie-in games to TV shows that had no right ever having a video game. And like every once in a while, a grandma would come in being like, "I'm getting my grandson a DS. Do you think he would like Zack and Cody's Sweet Life, the game?" And like she comes up with like a pile of games that are like all terrible. But, like, you got to make the sale, and you're just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, kid."
Oh, man.
I've betrayed you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, the DS was known for its shovelware.
Yeah, like, if you see a game is $15, you shouldn't buy it.
That's a rule of thumb.
Yeah.
That's a rule of thumb, Grandma. But I also want to point out she would never say my grandson is getting a DS. She would have said my grandson is getting a Nintendo.
Yes. No
He's
matter what
getting
it
a
was.
Nintendo GameCube, boy.
No, I think no matter what kind of game system it was, she would say
It's always a Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They think of Nintendo like
Nintendo. I heard it's good.
Nintendo is like the word Kleenex to old people. You're over there playing Nintendo, making phone calls on your Nintendo. I see you playing Angry Birds. Stop taking pictures of me on your Nintendo.
Take that Nintendo VR headset off of your head. That's very good.
Help, I've fallen. Call 911 on the Nintendo.
All right, so we're talking about the TV show video games that we created. We each have one to pitch. I will start with mine, and I will begin with a question. What's your favorite part about watching TV?
The snacks.
I was going gonna say snacks.
The snacks are good. But I was thinking about, when I'm going to consume content.
I was waiting for you to be like, the commercials. The best part.
So that's a good thought. It's close. But what I was going to say is if I'm going to consume content in these modern times, I'm going to go to an on-demand service. I'm going to go to Netflix. I'm going to go to Hulu. Why would I ever be watching TV nowadays? But the idea of channel surfing still has a place in my heart. The idea that I could just put it on and blindly hit the channel up and channel down buttons until I find something that appeals to me. And that is what my game is based on. And it's very, very ironic that you mentioned WarioWare earlier, because my game is Channel Surf Showdown Mega Micro Games. So this is this is a WarioWare-esque game where it's based upon game shows. So you might jump from answering a Jeopardy question to guessing the #1 Family Feud answer to having to put some balls in a hoop like the Aztecs did via Legends of the Hidden Temple. So you're jumping from thing to thing in a very WarioWare-esque fashion, all based on game shows. You might have to burn your opponent with a sick Yo Mama joke in Wilmer Valderrama's Yo Mama. There's a wealth of game shows to draw from.
Do we have Wilmer's catchphrase?
What was it?
Do you have? You can win cash money.
Cash money. Yeah. So you could definitely win cash money, because I did want to say that this is an actual competition where you could win money. So it works on like a system where people are playing live online and you do win cash money, as Wilmer Valderrama would say. So basically, you get 15 challenges, and it could be a Jeopardy question, it could be a Family Feud thing, but essentially you get 15 of those little micro games that last like 5 seconds, and then you got to do a boss level. So this could be taking on the Temple Guards from Legends of the Hidden Temple. You might have to do the final Double Dare challenge. You might have to take on the Aggro Crag from Guts. So it's like the final challenge of these game shows, and you have to take that on every 15 micro challenges.
This feels like just Game Show Network the game.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, that's a good title for it.
So you're paying like $5 a month into this or something too, so that there's enough prize so that people can actually get prize money, or no?
$10 a month.
Oh,
please, $5? What? Come on, $10 a month.
Okay.
$10
That's
a
more
month.
than Netflix.
Yep, but you have the chance to win money. Has Netflix ever paid you money? No. But Channel Surf Showdown Mega Micro Games might, if your Mega Micro Games skills are strong enough. So just like they can be separated into categories. So just like in WarioWare, how you select like a level and it's like Jimmy with the big afro, he does the sports games. Orbulon does like the math and spelling games. This is like
Orbulon?
Yeah, I did not know where that came from.
That's a real WarioWare character. I love WarioWare, and I can guarantee you that is a real character. I did not just make that up. But in this game, it's like, you got Mark Summers, who maybe does the physical challenges. Mark Summers
he makes
will
you
take
reach
you to
up
the
a
physical
nose and pull
challenges.
boogers out.
Exactly.
Do you need like physical attachments for this, or is it just like a Wii remote?
Yeah,
like,
that's a
are there
great question.
like,
I was curious
is there like
what
a
the periph
dance
is.
board and like a balance board? Like, I imagine you got to have some of these available.
So you do need a very powerful PC, because these are state-of-the-art graphics.
Oh, it's
and
PC
do
game?
need an Oculus Rift. This is a full VR 360 experience, and you are actually reaching up into that nose. You are putting your hand through the gack to pull out the flag. This is a full experience in VR. Like the physical challenge is one aspect, but then you also got trivia. So maybe that's hosted by Regis Philbin. My name's Regis Philbin.
Oh my
Can anyone
god!
do a Regis Philbin? Because I tried right
Keep
there and
going.
it didn't work.
Keep going.
Continue the voice, please.
Come on, Regis.
It's
Dear Regis.
me. It's Regis Philbin. It's gonna be a great show.
No.
This is like Kermit, like much closer to Kermit than Regis.
This is a better Kermit impression than your actual Kermit impression.
I feel like Regis Philbin is a person who you can do a very good impression of, and I don't have one, but I'm trying. So
Can anybody do a Regis Philbin just to correct the record?
I don't know.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
That's
Do we all have to
Oh,
try?
there we go.
There it
Listen,
was.
Christopher, do you want to win $1 million?
Yeah. Is that your final answer?
there we go, much better. So he hosts the trivia section, and then there's like the opinion-based game section, which is of course hosted by Steve Harvey. So you just get your choice.
Of course.
Or you could do the big mashup where it's just a full, no holds barred. You're jumping from trivia to opinion based to physical challenge, like it's nothing. So
You're doing it like it's nothing.
like it's
nothing
nothing.
to you. It's
You're crushing it. Some kid from Omaha comes in. He's got slow internet. You crush it.
He doesn't have the fancy fiber optic cables you do. Fuck that kid.
Most people aren't plugging in. They're relying on Wi-Fi. Imbeciles.
Similar to your Purge game, Chris, this feels like a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
You have to pay $10 a month, climb into your VR tank, and then do all these things while all these virtual hosts yell at you.
So what I'm picturing is there is like a subgroup of people who make this their income. They're just very good at Channel Surf Showdown Mega Micro games, and they do build a cottage industry out of the prize winnings from doing it.
They could definitely Twitch it and I mean, this could be a thing. I mean, and then, oh my gosh, Meta, this becomes a TV show. People are just watching.
Yes.
Yeah, it just becomes a show in itself.
And you're just watching people in their living room, and it could do like the cross screen thing where it's like this is what they're seeing in their VR headset, but then it's just them, and maybe they do trip over their coffee table during the Double Dare physical challenge.
You're watching people's living rooms, tapping into their security cameras and just watching them wave around, do their thing.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, and it's aired on prime time on ABC, America's network.
It's aired for 10 hours a day on ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS, all the major networks.
It's hosted by Regis Philbin.
It's me, Regis Philbin.
I think my one tweak to this is that I think you don't need multiple hosts. I think you should just genetically combine all of them into one being.
Yeah.
Steve Harvey
meets Alex Trebek, meets Regis Philbin, meets Carson Daly.
It's too powerful. It's too powerful.
I think that
horrible blob in a suit that's just oh, yeah, you come from Texas. Let's go to the Johnsons.
Let's go to Mo for the Times. Mo. What was that guy's name?
Who?
I don't remember.
What?
The guy from Guts. Let's go to Mo for the Times. Mo. That doesn't ring a bell for you?
I can't remember.
And then Mo was
was
like, Regis clocked 4 buoys.
Regis Philbin competed on Global Guts. Wasn't he 40 or 50 at that point?
Probably older.
I'm gonna try and get to the top of the aggro crag to get it for my wife.
Bob Barker collected 7 buoys, and now I'm just turning into Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
boy, this Impressions podcast is really taking off.
So yeah, that's my Mo. So you heard my Regis, you heard my Mo, and that's all you're getting today. So that's my idea. Channel Surf Showdown, Mega Micro Games. And the micro games does have a $sign for the S to represent the fact that you are winning real cash money.
That's great.
Ooh, okay. So we talked about this a little bit before the podcast started because Well, you went to the bathroom like 8 times. Pete,
Yeah, one of your 4 pee trips.
one of your 4 bathroom breaks. So games like right now, like there are so many TV shows that have no right being a game, but are a game because mobile gaming is what it is. Like it's mobile games, I think for the most part are made to make money. So there's a lot of like pay to play type things, and they reward like they're made to be like a routine. Right?
The
So that-
Kardashian game studio. That's all you have to say. There's like 12 Kardashian games.
Right,
They
there's
just keep
but, like-
pumping them out.
even like at the same time, like there's a Trailer Park Boys game. There's an Always Sunny game. Like game,
And they're
there's-
all just infinite runners.
but like I think those two specifically are more like, oh, okay, like they're like Farmville. They're the modern equivalent of Farmville. But so when I was thinking of my game, I was trying to think like, what is the most painful experience that I could make? Like a show that has no right ever being a game. Like, what could it
What
be?
is the most
And the best
painful
answer I came up with is a real-time strategy game where you play as none other than famous Canadian Lorne Michaels. And Saturday Night Live, the game. Saturday
Boy, what a
night,
build.
Saturday real-time strategy, Saturday Night Live, the game. So the game would be structured like an RTS, and you would have cast members, and you would have to like cast them in certain sketches. So like one of those games, or even like an Animal Crossing, there are seasons, there are like times, things are happening in the world because SNL is very topical, and you have to structure like over the course of like a game week, you have to structure a show together, and like you organize the sketches, you put cast members in there. There is a like guest host.
So it's kind of like a resource management type of thing where
Yes.
you have this many cast members, you have these camera guys, you need to make sure they're in the right place at the right time. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
you
we
can't
gotta
just put
order-
Will Ferrell in every single skit and be like, and we win. That's it.
Right. Because, and also, like, there are cast members who have certain strengths and certain weaknesses. Like, each cast member, like, if they were a unit, would have, like, well, this unit is better at impressions. This unit is really good for Weekend Update. And,
Gotcha.
like, you would have to, like, organize them in a way that gives you the best ratings, I suppose.
And you get like better and better characters as you go, but it gets more challenging. It's like you get the
Right.
double camera
You can unlock
operator.
like legacy characters.
Yeah.
So
and
like Will
beyond that,
Ferrell becomes
you would have-
available eventually.
Yeah, you wouldn't have just cast members. You would also have like your set builders, your
Yeah, do you
sound
have like a
engineers,
writing staff and
or your writing staff. Exactly, like in your writing
I
staff,
like
like you
that.
would get like if you were playing like an Age of Empires, you would get like notifications like, like your writing staff is all hopped up on cocaine and only wrote sketches about Dr. Fart.
So I feel like just a tweak already would be like, it's not necessarily SNL. It's like a improv comedy show or something. And like you start as just a one man show, and then eventually you like get a partner, and then you hire a writer, and then you have sets. And so like you build, it's more like a Civilization or something.
yeah,
right?
you
Where-
start as Lorne Michaels, seeing one guy who's really funny and telling him to start an improv show, and
Hey,
you build
I
your
want you
empire
to be
of
in my
SNL.
show.
And then
Well,
eventually it gets up to SNL.
Well, that's what I was wondering too. Is it like SNL through time? Like you could probably do like multiple styles of play where it's like you start with a current cast, or you start all the way back in the 70s. Like
Yeah,
the
do you get to
worst
choose your
time, like, the
decade?
yeah, you could choose your decade. The hardest time would probably be like the 80s when it was like Robert Downey Jr. and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, the cast that was all completely fired.
Yeah.
No, I think you're missing a revenue opportunity. I think you just have one, and it starts out with the newest cast, but then like you have the expansion pack. For just $10 more, you can buy the 70s.
Go full EA and have
Yeah.
loot crates and just
So
You could. You could
loot
really
crates,
do that.
booster packs, but I also like the idea that like you unlock these characters from your gameplay. So like I'm gonna compare this to NBA Street Volume 2, which is the sequel
everybody knows that
to
game.
NBA Street, the EA big PlayStation 2 classic, NBA
Great.
Street Volume 2. That game had a system where you play through the campaign mode and eventually you unlock Michael Jordan as a playable character. And I love the idea that you're working your way through the ranks and every now and then you get like a little doggy bone where, oh, you got Dana Carvey available to you now.
Where I thought you were going with that is that eventually you unlock characters and the characters are like, oh, Bill Hader just hit on Stefan. Or like it's like different SNL characters. You're like, oh my god, the church lady is a hit, and like they're like classes for your like. But like here's like where the challenge would be. It's like, you know, Stefan is great, but he's not a cold open character. Cold opens are for political stuff, right? Like you can't like
You gotta
just
place them
exploit
strategically.
them. Like you
So
can't
there
just
is like there's like a stat system.
There's
so
a stat
like,
system.
There's like a monologue stat. There's like a physical comedy stat.
An impression
There's an impression
stat.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And
So
I imagine
each-
there has to be some mini games along the way too, where
yeah.
like during the course of the week when you're building the show, like you'll do things like that help. Like you have to take the host out to dinner to schmooze with them.
And that's like a dating simulator type portion.
Yeah. You have like a writing session where you're like talking to the host about their monologue, and like it's Sylvester Stallone, and he's just smoking a cigar, like burning your couch, and then he's like, "What if I beat somebody up?" And you're like, "Well, that's not really funny."
What if I just do Rocky on the set the whole time?
Wow, that was really good, Pete.
He has good impressions. That's what I was trying to get him to do before. But
Yeah,
I also like the idea that there can be mini games based upon really like redundant things, like just like building a set. So it's just like a timing like the hammer swing type of mini game.
Well, see, or you can pay $2 and have the set built right away. I feel like,
Oh,
right?
yep.
But what if they unionize and like that could be a challenge because like the union workers like are supposed to be building the set, and then
this
maybe you
game-
hire some scrubs to build the set, and you get like,
This game is starting to sound a lot like work, like just being a project manager.
yeah, pretty much. I was like, how do I make SNL a game while simultaneously robbing all of the humor and joy out of it?
I think you were successful. Congratulations.
You did.
One other thing I want to ask you. So is it like live? Like, is it like a service game where it's updating like weekly? Like these are the topics. These are your celebrity guests you have at your disposal?
No, I wasn't trying to like make it a subscription service game. I was thinking more of like a PC game. And here's the thing, maybe a way to like make it multiplayer is that you like one of you is Lorne Michaels, and like you're just kind of like the mastermind, or another person is like your head writer, your Tina Fey, and you're like
Gotcha.
in charge of making the scripts, and you're all like playing co-op together. And
I like that.
if you really wanted to add a layer to it, maybe two opposing players are in charge of Mad TV.
And that's where the RTS StarCraft thing comes in. 'Cause
Right,
You
and you're
start
competing.
like your set for the Mad TV skit starts encroaching on the SNL set, and you just have like the actors like bumping into each other and shit.
Exactly.
I like that.
Man.
You could go sabotage the set.
Yes. Oh, I like the idea that you could like sneak in and sabotage. So you do have like characters with a high stealth stat, and you can ask like Tracy Morgan to just sneak into the SNL set and like
Tracy Morgan, known for his stealthiness.
known for being very subtle and stealthy.
But like, you know, like how the stars of like, they're all like really quirky and weird. So maybe you like go on the set and you like say to Tracy Morgan, you give Tracy Morgan a shit ton of sugar and trigger his diabetes, and he can't perform in a sketch, and they're like, all right, well, we have to throw in Daryl Hammond, and like
It doesn't work
so
with
good.
Daryl.
yeah, and the sketch tanks like I think there's a lot of variables to it that could be fun.
All right. So, my game is titled As Days Go By.
Very dramatic.
It's a Metroidvania style game.
Nice.
All right.
Is As Days Go By a soap opera or something?
It's just the title.
Okay.
So you start the game as a Chicago police officer with a small family at home with a wacky neighbor.
I knew it.
You are Carl Winslow.
As soon as you said Chicago police officer, I knew.
So this game is the Family Matters game, As Days Go By.
But Family Matters is not in the title. We're not playing off that licensing opportunity.
Well, As Days Go By is in their theme song.
Oh, wow. Okay, very subtle. I like it.
Days go by.
Yeah.
You got it.
So it's
not even
Metroidvania.
like the title of the song.
It's just a line in the song.
So you are Carl Winslow, Chicago police officer, and your family is kidnapped by your neighbor Urkel's crazy experiment.
Oh no.
So, and this wacky invention could be he has a clone. Maybe it's his Urkel bot that he
Stefan
invented in one
Urkel.
episode. He had an evil ventriloquist dummy in an episode. Who knows? It could be any of those. Or they're all a boss.
The dummy creeped me out for real. I remember that still to this day, being like, no.
So your first mission as Carl will be you have to free Steve Urkel, and he becomes your like what's the dude in Luigi's Mansion who just is in the basement who gives you like supplies
Oh,
and
Professor Egad.
Yes.
He's your Professor Egad, giving you like items to like help you, like almost like Bond-esque, like James
He's like a
Bond-esque
Q, yeah.
gadgets. Yeah, he's your Q.
So you're going through these missions trying to save your family. You're fighting Urkel bots. You're going through and you're collecting gear, and you're going back to Urkel, and he's building you weapons. He's building you loadouts and stuff.
Oh,
And then eventually what happens is you get enough stuff that he can create his weird machine that turns Steve Urkel into cool Stefan Urkel. And he
Nice.
becomes a playable character as well. And
His
you
final
need
form.
Stefan to be able to rescue Laura, the daughter.
I like that. I
Very
like that a
nice.
lot.
So because of the Metroidvania, you have to keep going.
I love that right off the bat that it's Reginald Val Johnson is the hero of the game, not Urkel.
Absolutely.
It's like the original creator's intent. Because like
Yeah.
from what I
Urkel
understand
is a
about Family
villain.
Matters too, is that Urkel was written as like a side character and then became very popular, and then he became the star of the show. And
Yeah, he was only
everybody
supposed
else
to be
was
in like 2 episodes, and then they're like, this kid's great.
yeah, like so. This is like the Clone Wars for Star Wars fans, where it's just like, no, it's the original creator's intent. Like the real hero is Carl Winslow.
This is very true to the original creator's intent. I like the idea with the gadget building that it's like Ratchet and Clank had this system where you're like destroying robots. Those are the enemies. And then when you destroy the robots, you get like cogs and you get like screws and stuff. And then you use that to build your weapons. So I like the idea that you're destroying the Urkel bots and you bring those pieces that you collect from destroying the Urkel bots back to Urkel for him to recycle and create something useful for you.
You're a cop and you're having a like teenager help you fight crime.
I mean, maybe they took over like the entire city, so you're like the last cop in the city who has to like full Die Hard go and save your family.
Reginald Val Johnson.
I like the
Crossover.
fact that he's a cop and he does have a gun in his holster, but instead he's using Stefan Urkel's fart gun that he gave him.
Well, I'm guessing it's because it's like his creations are the enemy in the first place. So it's like, you can't just go arrest them or
Yeah.
something. Like it's a evil dummy, So
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah, how do you fight an
Silence
evil
it.
dummy?
The only way to defeat him is by unstuffing him with this plug. I don't know.
It's like Batman Arkham City, where like you have to have a certain weapon for a certain enemy, and Urkel's the only one who can create it.
You did describe it as a Metroidvania. So I like the idea that you need to go to Urkel to get these weapons in order to progress.
Yeah. So you can't beat the game with just your gun. It's physically impossible. You need to free Urkel and get these weapons.
You encounter a barrier that you need to use the fart gun to open.
So, can I also ask? So Laura is taken captive, like the daughter that Urkel had a crush on throughout the whole series. And if I remember correctly, she only really responded to Stefan until the 9th season. Are the other members of the Family Matters cast anywhere? Like, I remember
Yes,
the
they've
plucky
all been
grandmother.
abducted.
They're all abducted.
Eddie, the son, is abducted. You got Judy, the daughter, who kind of disappeared after like 2 or 3 seasons. She just like wasn't in the show anymore.
Right. Wait, was that the younger daughter?
Yeah, they had like a
How did they disappear
4-year-old.
her?
She just stopped being on the show. And then there's like the aunt and the nephew who were on for a while. They're all kidnapped along with grandma.
Oh, everyone is kidnapped. Oh my
Yeah,
gracious.
everyone's been
This is
taken.
serious.
So I think we find out at the end it's like Urkel's evil clone kidnapped the whole family because he doesn't have one of his own.
Oh, wow, that's
Oh,
deep.
this
What's
gets
the tone
deeper.
of this? Is this like cartoony, cell shaded type of thing, or is it like a dark, gritty, like Call of Duty esque kind of thing going on? A reboot?
I like to think it's a semi-brighter version of like Batman Arkham, the Arkham series.
Okay, I like that.
It's like
I
in the
like
vein
this.
of the Arkham series, but a little bit brighter. Because you're Steve Urkel with a fart gun.
I love the idea that it's very dark and gritty, but you are using a fart gun.
I mean, I can tell you as a fan of Family Matters, I love this concept.
It's very good.
I was a big TGIFer, and I would only say that maybe what you could do too, like expansion, is you could expand into the other TGIF universe.
Yeah, because they had
The
crossover
larger-
episodes with Step by Step, Boy Meets World.
You could have Corey and Topanga in an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to know my secret connection to Step by Step?
What's that?
The girl who
Well,
played
imagine if
Lily.
we were like, nah, not really, and then we just moved on.
No, I'm good.
The girl from Step by Step who was the youngest daughter, Lily, her name was Emily Young. She went to our elementary school, and we dated.
Wow.
We dated as second graders, which meant holding hands, essentially.
Very nice. So you made it to third base by second grade standards. You did hold hands.
There's a possibility that I could enter the game as myself.
Yes.
But like the Step by Step universe could be a part of it. You've got Boy Meets World, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. These could all be different characters that Carl Winslow could encounter and kill.
He recruits along the way.
Yeah.
No, man.
Friendly fire is turned on. You can accidentally shoot Corey from Boy Meets World in the face. And if you do, then the Corey Matthews side quests are closed off permanently. It saves
Yeah.
automatically if you shoot him in the face, and you can never get to those Corey Matthews side quests.
All right, I'm excited that this one wasn't taken. I was a little bit worried because in my mind it was very obvious, but I think I would have to go with, a very popular show for all time, and the youth of today are even picking it back up. It seems to just be growing in popularity. So I would say The Office, and I would do it as Red Dead Redemption style, totally open world. So you're a new character. You're not Jim or anyone or Dwight or Michael or anything. You're just like, you're your own character, and you go into and you get hired at Dunder Mifflin. But you can sell paper. You can do that. There's all kinds of mini games for that. Or you can be like, you know what? This Dwight guy seems cool, and you go become a beet farmer. And you,
I like that you could accept quests from Dwight, and you could go down that quest line.
Yeah, I like having Moe's side quests.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
you
you
go
would have
and
to have
Mose
side
is
quests for
there.
everybody.
Mose is there, and it's like, what's Mo's deal? And you can figure out what's going on with that. Or, you can drive up and take some interviews at Dunder Mifflin Corporate with David Wallace and take that path there.
So I just to So you said Red Dead Redemption, but really it's closer to Grand Theft Auto, actually.
Yeah, I guess.
No, you happen to be riding a horse everywhere. Your character does ride a horse. It takes place in modern day Pennsylvania, but your character does ride a horse.
You have to buy a horse from Dwight at one point.
Yes.
So
That's
I
the
mean, and
opening mission.
there is a story you can follow, and if you follow the story, it like roughly follows the show. Like eventually Michael leaves, and eventually Robert California comes, and so like all that stuff will happen if you do like the storyline. But you absolutely do not have to. Like you could go, sing in Andy's a cappella group and pursue a career in a cappella.
I feel like Robert California's quest line would be fucking insane. I feel like he would discreetly ask you to murder somebody, and it would be the only instance of violence in this entire game.
Oh no! Oh, there's the Scranton Strangler, and I was gonna say they never did find out who that was. Is that your destiny? It's your destiny to become the Scranton Strangler. It's possible.
Ooh, wow! Finally, an answer to the age-old question.
I will say the one change here is there is no film crew, so there's no film crew following them around, like anything like that. So that whole part of the show and everything is taken out.
Or maybe we could do like a Super Mario 64. The camera in the game is operated by the camera guy.
And
That's good.
Or that you could have the film crew, and if you pay them off, they'll let you see like everyone else's footage, and you can get dirt on people and get their testimony.
Yeah, no, we need the crew. The crew adds a whole other element. I like that.
All right.
I love the thought of like advanced refrigeration side quests.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like just an annoying like mini game where you're just lifting up fridges for Bob Vance and moving them into the storeroom.
I like the larger universe that you can accept quests, like just in the vein of Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead, like all those Rockstar games. Like you can really go off on like a tangent and really get to know who is Creed Bratton and like, and what has he done?
If you talk to
one of
him,
your missions is just go to the quarry and throw rocks with Creed.
yeah.
We go to Erin for a mission, and she's like, "There's a groundhog that keeps stealing my pies off my picnic table," and you need to like go chase the groundhog and like dig it out of its hole.
I have to imagine at some point you sleep with Meredith multiple times during the race.
Well, that can be like driving home after a night with Meredith. That's a whole quest there.
So here's my question: can you seduce Pam and break up the Pam Jim?
This is a totally open. Oh, you absolutely can if that's your choice. Well,
That's a back of the box bullet right there.
Oh, so also another thing that like just dawned on me is that the pranks that Jim pulls on Dwight are such a major part of the show. So you must have to like at some point like start pranking people in the office.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, like inventing new pranks to happen.
I imagine that's like Jim's main kind of. I mean, I guess he has the Pam storyline, and then he also has the prank kind of storyline. So those are like his kind of quests. Right.
Yeah, like every Grand Theft Auto quest line is like you do jobs for this guy and you work your way up their ranks, and then you start doing jobs for someone else and you end up killing that first guy. So I like the idea that like you're the new guy in the office, Jim takes you in under his wing because he's friendly, you start doing pranks with Jim, but then Dwight calls you over and you do a prank that goes way too far and like breaks Jim's leg or something, and then you're just boys with Dwight from then on.
I just see a screen with like two choices, and it's like, A, kill Jim.
But like, here's the question: what if you're a temp that starts alongside Ryan, and Ryan becomes your rival throughout the game, and like eventually you're tasked with killing Ryan?
Yeah,
and you steal Mindy Kaling's character away.
You're the one that actually did the double counting sales online and in paper. And but what you do is you frame Ryan. Yeah.
You frame Ryan.
Yeah.
I like the idea that there's like a very binary morality system, like a Paragon versus Renegade thing. Like if you start going bad, you start growing horns, like little horns on your head, like in Fable.
No, the way I look at it, it's just like life. I mean, everything in the moment, of course you can justify it. I had to frame Ryan.
Okay, here's another question. What if it's a class-based thing and you can sign up to be in different departments? Ooh. So like you can be an accountant, you can be this is where I was going: accountant, sales, HR. And if you're HR, your main job is telling on Michael. And Michael,
and you get Michael fired like in season 1.
But then because Michael just has so good luck, Michael hates you, because no matter what you do, somebody in the office is gonna hate you, and you'll probably want your characters that you like Jim and Pam and Michael to like you. But if you go certain routes, you might be buddy with Creed, or you might be buddy with Stanley. I think there's if you do a class-based system in this, you could really get on certain characters' bad sides. If you're an HR rep, maybe you frame Toby and actually make him out to be the Scranton Scrangler to become the foremost HR rep.
Yeah,
you get Toby fired, and everyone in the office then loves you. And
that's the secret.
There's infinite possibilities. See, I mean, there's so much that could happen. Basically, there's a lot of source material to work with. I mean,
yeah. I'm thinking about the Creed quest line now, and that would just literally be a Grand Theft Auto quest line. That's all.
Selling drugs,
stealing
to
cars,
kids.
Selling drugs,
selling fake IDs.
When he comes in and he has blood all over him, and he goes, "Thank God it's Halloween."
So would the Stanley storyline be just helping him get away with an affair?
Yes,
and
sleeping at the office,
and finding more and more difficult crossword puzzles. Hey, good job, kid. This is a rare one, but you know what I want next.
You keep providing him with different crossword puzzles.
Yeah.
The Stanley quest line culminates in a giant mission where you need to go through his house and hide all the evidence of his adultery. But in order to do it, you do have to complete 5 full crossword puzzle missions before that.
So another thing about this, Grand Theft Auto is an approximation of LA, right? The city of Los Angeles. So in this game, you're in
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Well, it's Scranton, but you can go to New York and stuff. You can go down to Florida.
Yeah.
Is there a Utica? There's a Utica branch you can go to.
Yeah, but I New York. I feel would maybe. I feel New York would make the game only fun in New York.
Well, let's say
your open world should only be these horrible little towns in Pennsylvania.
So it's how they do it is in The Witcher 3. There's this one major beautiful city that's supposed to be awesome, but you can't actually venture in the city. You can only be in these 5 rooms of the castle.
I think
that's how I'm imagining New York is. You can only be in Dunder Mifflin headquarters.
You're there and it's
David
the best
Wallace's
part of the
floor.
game, but it's only one street that you can explore, and then you hit an invisible wall and you just keep walking and it goes nowhere.
Right, you can only be on the floor with David Wallace, and then
you can go to a Sbarro, and
well, a Sbarro's in the first floor of the building. So
because I have gone to Scranton multiple times, and man, that city is depressing.
So I have quite a few honorable mentions.
Me too.
Which are games that I came up with that didn't quite make it to my number 1, but are nonetheless worth mentioning. So I'm gonna start with what is definitely the worst one, because it is just a pun, but I thought it was worth mentioning. You guys know Mario Lopez?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Access Hollywood, starring your host, Wario Lopez. Eva Mendes was spotted at Panera Bread. Wah!
Sounds horrible.
I like that it's basically just WarioWare, but with Mario Lopez.
Yeah, all Chris's ideas are just WarioWare.
Yeah, I had Wario on the brain. That thought, Wario Lopez, led me to Channel Surfing Showdown Mega Micro Games. that was the brain seed that planted that flower.
The brain seed.
Do you guys remember Nintendogs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nintendogs for Nintendo DS. This is Nintendog the Bounty Hunter.
I thought only one was a pun.
No, they're all puns. It's a virtual pet where, Dog the Bounty Hunter lives in your Nintendo DS, and you need to feed him Moe's Southwest Steakhouse every now and then to keep him going. And he'll bring home more bounties for you if you keep him fed and watered.
Nice.
My next one is Anime Crossing. So I guess this is just Animal Crossing, but with, Goku on your island.
You got your Narutos.
Naruto.
You got your One Pieces. You got your Sword Art Online.
And they just come to your island and, live in peace and harmony with each other. I thought that would be a fun one. This is one that's an actual game. So this is actually real. An actual idea. So there is an Animal Crossing game. Back to Animal Crossing Happy Home Academy, and that is the game that came out previous to New Horizons that everyone's playing. But in Happy Home Academy, all you did was interior decorate, and you were graded on your aesthetics and graded on the functionality of what you built. So it's a game with that system, but it's Room Raiders Happy Home Academy.
Oh.
So you make a room for this character, and then the room raider comes in and you have to try to win their affection and win their love.
I thought you were just going full HGTV.
That wouldn't be so bad. It could be like Property Brothers Happy Home Academy. That would be pretty good.
It's Fixer Upper, but you pay real money, and it's like a VR, but you go in and you actually knock and rebuild a house.
Yeah, all of my ideas are in VR. That's just a given. And then I do have 2 celebrity guest shots from none other than my wife. These are her ideas. I did ask her if she wanted to be on the show, and her response was to laugh at me. So
I'm sad. I would have loved to have been on with Michi.
Yeah.
But she did offer these 2 celebrity guest shots that I'll prevent for her in her absence. The first one is Jerry Springer Brawl, and that's a game that starts out as a visual novel where you go through and you're selecting responses and you're building up the drama, and then when the drama reaches a peak, it does become a wrestling game where you can pile drive your opponent and reach into the crowd and grab a folding chair and whack them in the head with it.
Very nice.
Like that.
And her other celebrity guest shot is an open world game where you hunt for garbage and then try to pawn your findings out on the crew from Pawn Stars. This is Pawn Stars the game. So I'm picturing this could be like a Grand Theft Auto 5 mod where you're just in that world, but you're only going around searching for garbage. There's no combat. There's no nothing. You're just looking under the bridge for something you could pawn off to the Pawn Stars guys.
Very nice.
Pete, you said you had a few?
Yeah, I got a couple. So one is ESPN Sports Center The Game, which is basically just Pokemon Snap, but for sports people.
So wait, are you at these sporting events with a camera trying to snap
Yeah, I'm
pictures of
imagining
them?
you're at an NFL game and you have to get the shot of the game-winning touchdown.
Oh,
Are you
wow,
also
that's
riding a
good.
roller coaster type contraption on Snap?
Okay, so for a while on Monday Night Football, there was a thing called the Booger Mobile.
It's not for a while.
Hear me
It's
out. Hear me out.
It's still
There is a
around.
guy who used to be a player who's named Booger McFarland. He was the sideline announcer for Monday Night Football, and they put him on a track, like a train track on one of the sidelines, and they would just pull him back and forth as the game progressed down the field. He would just be even with the ball. So I'm imagining you're just on, and they call it the Booger Mobile. So I'm imagining you're just on the Booger Mobile, and you have to make sure you get the shot.
I like that idea. So if you remember how the mechanics of Pokemon Snap worked,
You could throw apples.
Yeah. So you could just throw an apple at LeBron James, really mess up his game. But the way it worked was you were graded on closeness, so how close you were to the subject, and you were graded on angle, or were they facing you, and you were graded on activity, were they doing something interesting, was Pikachu doing his Thunderbolt, and in this case it was Shaquille O'Neal, breaking the backboard with a back-breaking slam a jamma.
Like, did you just get a shot of before the snap and they're just all standing in a line, or did you get that toe touch sideline catch?
Yes,
this game almost sounds like a Tyler game because of how infuriating it would be to watch a fake football game like for 2-3 hours, and you're just trying to get a good photo of it.
And much like Pokemon
in the
Snap,
Booger Mobile.
sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
They just don't do anything.
sometimes you just watch.
It was actually just a boring game. They won 3-0. There was only a field goal.
But then every now and then, John Starks does jump over Michael Jordan, and you can get that shot of the dunk.
So that was
gotta
one.
be ready.
I then had Avatar: The Last Airbender as a fighting game.
Ooh, that should just exist. Like, that's not even funny.
Yeah.
That's just a good idea.
Well, you're talking to the right guy about it.
So Bar Rescue, which is a real-time tactic game.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be similar to like the SNL game that Joey was talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
where
That's
it's
how I was thinking.
yeah.
Like, you have to make sure you have enough servers, but you don't want to overstaff because then you lose money. And then
Right.
if you don't clean the kitchen right, John Taffer comes out and screams at you that you're going to get somebody sick. And then it's
This sounds almost like a tycoon game, like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
it's similar
So-
like Roller Coaster Tycoon or something.
Yeah, like Bar Tycoon, except John Taffer is there to scream at you if you fuck up. And I want it to be like full FMV video sequences of him looking directly into the camera.
Pixelated
and
John Taffer comes in, "You're going to get somebody sick!" And then he just like slides out.
That's very good. And flubbing his lines. Every other line is flubbed because he doesn't know how to read off the script.
Man, is John Taffer still out there in the world doing stuff? God, I hope
Oh,
so.
Bar Rescue's still going.
Good.
Paramount Network. It's on every morning in the Corves's household.
So I don't. Something just dawned on me. I don't have. I didn't really have any other ideas, but the I just saw something that was about Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. What would be like a hilarious television event to stick 2 video game characters in and then like adapt it like if it was like Banjo and Kazooie at the Oscars? Like,
I mean, we don't even have an Oscars host anymore. Banjo and Kazooie would be better than nothing.
it's just Banjo and Kazooie.
Marvel versus Capcom Family Feud.
That's a great line of thought. Something versus Capcom. Kardashians versus Capcom.
That's very good.
All right, I had one and another one that's kind of stupid. Well, they're both kind of stupid, but Succession. This is actually my wife Sarah's idea, so shout out to her. Succession, but like Risk, like a strategy game kind of. So like,
Wow.
you're like
Okay,
partnering
now
up
you're
with
talking.
people. Obviously it's not. Well, it's world domination, but in the business sense, so you're like trying to make alliances and defeat other like companies or whatever.
That's very good. I could picture that being like a great board game, honestly. If it's not a video game, I could picture
It's
like
the
a great
evolution
board
of
game
Risk,
based on that.
yeah,
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so it's like, you can position yourself well, but then sometimes like nobody watches your programming. So like, you go under, like you roll a dice to see how many ad dollars you get.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could get you could obtain capital, and capital could be like money. It could also be market share. It could also be like friendships that you have, and then you use that power and that capital to like gain leverage and make deals with people. So like, I'll give you this if you give me that, and the more capital you have, the easier it is to make those deals.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that. So it's like I'm picturing like a 4-person game where it's like mind games going on. You don't know what the other person's thinking.
Yeah.
I like that. Wow. Okay. That's very good. So now we pick a winner. So my game was Channel Surf Showdown Mega Micro Games. It's a game where you're jumping from game show activity to game show activity at a moment's notice, and you're doing physical things, you're doing trivia related things, you're doing we polled 100 people, what's the top number one answer related things, and it just comes at you like this, and then you do a big boss challenge at the end where you're climbing the aggro crag or taking on the legends of the Hidden Temple guards, and and you do get to win real money. Let's not forget that it is a subscription model where you are paying $10 a month for the right to play this game.
Yeah.
And you can make it your career if you are good enough at it. And it is VR. It is VR. You need a top level, top of the line PC with an Oculus Rift.
Yeah, wait, so what's this? It's exactly like that movie and book that came out that was about video games, right? Where it's VR world. Except
Ready Player One.
Oh, yeah, it's Ready Player One.
It's Ready Player One.
It's Ready Player One, except you only play game shows. It's worse
yes.
Ready Player One.
It's Ready Player One, but worse. And if Wario was there. So that's my idea. Joey, review yours.
My idea was SNL the game, a real-time strategy game where you have to manage all of the personalities of all of these psychopaths who work for you in 30 Rock, these cocaine addicts and Harvard graduates. And yeah, it would just be a fun game where you don't get to see any of the comedy sketches you create so much as try and get good ratings.
Very good. Very good. Pete, what was yours?
Mine was As Days Go By, a Family Matters game, which is a Metroidvania style game in the concept of Arkham, the Arkham series, where you're Carl Winslow, Chicago police officer, trying to save your family from the evil Urkel bots and Urkel clones and evil ventriloquist dummies.
And Luke, your elevator pitch?
Mine is Grand Theft Auto Scranton. It's the Office, but a Grand Theft Auto game, and you can, go and decide what you want your career to be: paper salesman or mass murderer or whatever.
I love that. And I'm gonna go ahead and enter my vote after that, and I'm gonna go Grand Theft Auto Scranton.
I too will vote for Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I'm going to Grand Theft Auto Scranton.
Wow.
We just all love The Office so much,
Yeah.
It's just
The
it lends itself so
possibilities
well,
with that
yeah.
game are endless.
You can do anything. Yeah. All right.
The Meredith quest line will make it an adults only game.
Yeah.
It's beyond mature. It's not sold at Walmart.
There's so much there.
At when you first turn on the game, so very famously, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I think it was, had a selector at the beginning that there is a very controversial level in this video game, and it's the level where you go through the airport and shoot everybody. And when you first turn on that game, it was, are you sure you want to play this level? And it doesn't happen for like 2 hours, but they ask you right at the beginning. So I like the idea, are you sure you want to enable the Meredith quest line?
Yeah.
It may scar you for life. Cool. Well, congratulations, Luke, and congratulations, Grand Theft Auto Scranton, on your big win here at I'd Totally Play That. My name is Chris Gordon. You could find my music on Spotify. Just search Sprightly. You can find me on Twitter at your boy Sprightly.
I am Joey Pasco, and if you find me on any platform, Instagram, Twitter, congratulations.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I am Pete Corveses. You can find me on Twitter at Pete Corveses. You can't spell it. Don't worry. You're not missing much. The only tweet I've had that's non-sports is about Dave Matthews as a Pokemon.
A reason to follow right there if I've ever heard one.
My mind is racing now. Is that the sound he makes as a Pokemon?
No, the sound he makes as a Pokemon is all of his songs. He's just saying his name the whole time. He's like, Dave Matthews, Dave Matthews, Dave Matthews, I'm Dave Matthews.
Dave Matthews.
Yep.
That's great.
That's very good. And Luke, tell us about your writing and stuff.
Yeah, so my government name is Lucas Quagliata. I'm on Twitter at The Real Quags, Quags. And yeah, I write a lot about media mostly, but also just musings on other topics. But it's a semi-serious endeavor for me. So yeah, check it out if you're interested in like media, television, streaming wars, all that kinds of businessy stuff.
And sometimes he writes about the Domino's Pizza Tracker. Look out for that
once
one.
a year,
Check
at
it
least
out.
once a year. At least once a year, I write about all the times I ordered Domino's that year and how it went. And
surely that will last longer than Quibi.
Oh, you almost certainly.
Nice. Well, thank you for listening to I Totally Play That. And we appreciate you. We like you. Thank you.
Love you.